So I don't know the Acha, it's live streaming.
It is going to get live in another 10 seconds. That's why I'm trying to be silent. As soon as it lives, then I start. So first of all, good afternoon to all of you. We have the best of the panelists, to be very frank, which we have in India. So we have Mr. Amit Chandra, who is the manager in Ernst & Young's. Amit sir, if you can say hello to our audience, please, before we move forward. You mute, sir. Hi.
So good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy to join this committee.
Thanks so much, Mr. Amit. Now we have Mr. Dr. Satya Gupta, who is the chairman of Blockchain Proprietary Forum. Sir, say hello to the audience before we move forward.
Thank you, Professor Akhil, for this invitation. It's a great honor and pleasure to be a part of this August panel, and I hope we will come to the expectation of our learned audience.
Thank you. But point is, I would say Kamlesh is somebody who is working in the blockchain space for a long period of time, and also he's also having now heading the VC funding in terms of blockchain for the blockchain ecosystem. Blockchain, I think Kamlesh, can you say hi to the audience?
Hi everyone. I think it's great to be here, and
Yeah.
Akhil always inspiring us by organizing such regular events.
Thank you.
Lots of
Last but not the least, Dr. Shiv. Dr. Shiv is the Director General for Blockchain Proprietary Forum. He's also the member of ITS Forum. Sir, can you say hello to the audience, please?
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. It's a great opportunity given by Professor Akhil and with Guru S.N. Gupta ji and the blockchain wizards like Amit Chandra and Kamlesh Nagware. It's a pleasure to be with you, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So with this, I think we can start the whole forum first of all. See, the point here is the whole discussion is not on paper perspective of exactly what the blockchain ecosystem looks like, because I think there are many forums, many webinars who have discussed things again and again. But the specificity of blockchain here is that how blockchain can be a benefit for public utility or the infrastructure sector, because that is a challenge which to be very frank, blockchain has a huge answer for it, but we also see a lot of gap in terms of what theoretically is possible and what is happening on ground. I mean, a lot of public sector utilities in the last 5 years, 6 years have promised as well, accepted the fact that blockchain has a lot of potential, but we don't really see on ground it is happening on a very fast paced growth compared to what other startups are doing in terms of ledger or in terms of certificate proofreading, etc. All those things are fastly getting moved, but the infrastructure where the potential actually lies a lot in terms of in terms of the revenue, the scope, the market, we see still a lot gap. I mean, that's the major point on which we are having a discussion here. So with this premise, let me open this forum to Mr. Amit first. Mr. Amit, I mean, if you look at the last 7, 8 years, I mean, the time when blockchain used to be, synonymous with cryptocurrency. There was a time when people never used to understand the technicality behind it. Then people thought that, there's a huge scope in blockchain and it's going to come out, and everybody was talking about it. And we saw COVID coming in. And at that time, people thought maybe blockchain is a connection with public utility and infrastructure, that, that's where you actually need it and the implementation is possible. So what is your take in terms of the last 5, 6 years? How you see the ecosystem has evolved?
Yeah. So let me explain that what I have my point of view when I see blockchain as a holistic view. So blockchain started with the cryptocurrency. Okay, then it look into that it should have some kind of smart contract or business logic which will make it more business oriented. Okay, when we talk about cryptocurrency, it's about only by sending and receiving the monies, but giving a smart contract kind of thing, it gives a business logic over there. Then it comes that multiple private organization has looked upon to the blockchain technology, and they try to do certain kind of transactions, certificate verification in the blockchain technology. But somehow as it was into the trial basis at that time, so the scalability has not that much done over that time. But now gradually, if I see as a government point of view, I'm closely working with the government sector and I'm keeping eye on the various department of government. What I see is that the data is very important. Okay, and when we talk about blockchain, it's all about data. So, keeping that in mind, various states such as Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, Telangana, Karnataka, in fact, Rajasthan, they are doing a lot of ideas and innovations on the blockchain technology. They have did lots of pilot project. Most of few of them has been into the production itself. It says that the data which is there, how to protect those data for the citizen centric and for the services of the citizens. Okay, now the questions comes is that when we talk about the infrastructure is the question, correct, Akhil? So, if you have seen that earlier, there were a lot of cloud blockchain as a service infrastructure which provides the infrastructure. But when I look into the government sector, it's all about their data center. Okay, where the data precise over there, the data is kept over there. So what government is currently looking into is that blockchain as a service module. They will create their own blockchain platform into the data center, and that platform will be used by the various departments of the government to create the network and to secure their data over there. Okay, so concluding this, what I have seen is that it started with some kind of hit and trial method by the private sector, but that does not goes to the scalability level. Now, looking into that, government are using and seeing the potential of this technology, and they are doing lot of work, use cases and pilot. Some of them have been moved to the production. So in that way, it is gradually being accepted by the government also. And once it is being accepted by the government and one full-fledged application will come into the market, then down the line we will see that there will be much more development is going to be happen in the private sector also. Okay, and infrastructure, it's always be a blockchain as a platform infrastructure, because each every department within the government organization will able to maintain their own server. It's all about the data center who provides the server to all the departments, and within that data center there will be a kind of blockchain as a service, what we have seen in Azure, AWS, or other cloud infrastructure. So that is my point over here.
Thank you so much, Amit. I think what you've said is a very valid point in terms of what exactly the infrastructure struggle is all about, and how the expansion is happening. I completely agree with your point. With that, I think let me switch to Dr. Satya. Dr. Satya, I mean, you are somebody who is part of the government for a longer period of time, and you have seen the way the evolution has happened in terms of public-private partnership, public utility development, and a lot has changed in the last 20 years. What you see is the potential of blockchain in terms of public utility, and why slightly things are slow.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Actually, as Amit have already mentioned, few attributes of blockchain which are touching the infrastructure part, and from what I learned from him is basically has been mentioning about the digital infrastructure, which is a very important thing. But what I will go for is what is basically a physical infrastructure, and that is where the role of government is there, as well as these public utilities. because the physical infrastructure have few characteristics which make it a social sector as well as a government funded sector, because these are capital intensive, one thing, and hence government have to play a role, and most of the time ownership role. And the second thing is they are something like critical infrastructure in the sense they have to basically be provided for the citizens, for the society at large, without working on what they call a business case or business model, actually. And these are the two characteristics of a physical infrastructure. One is the cost, and second is the return on investment. In addition to that, there are other things which makes it more complex and difficult to create a physical infrastructure, and that is the time, actually, because these are very cumbersome and complex projects, actually. So the time, long run, basically, and lack of visibility of return on investment, and the capital incentiveness and the risk, actually. All these things are the characteristics of physical infrastructure, and that is why conventionally physical infrastructure is not meeting, physical infrastructure development is not meeting the aspiration or the need of the people, actually. And there is a big focus on that, but because of these attributes, it still have a lot of things which are being asked, actually. And that is where the blockchain comes to play now, because blockchain, in addition to just a starting with a cryptocurrency, now they have come out with the enterprise uses physical real world assets, what you call physical infrastructure, and more than anything else, the productivity, efficiency, actually the automation of a process. So all these things of blockchain, if they can be taken together to help the infrastructure development for a nation, then a lot of things can be done by making it automated, making it efficient, and especially what you mentioned about public-private partnership, because that is another, you can say, feature or emerging trend of a physical infrastructure, public-private partnership, because as they are so much capital intensive, the government alone cannot fund them, what they were supposed to do. Neither the private sector alone will do it because of the ROI issues and risk issues. So it makes a very powerful combination of public and private partnership, and that is what is needed, actually. So whatever government can do from their side, they should do that, and whatever they cannot do, the private sector should bring to the table, so that end result is what is required for the citizens in the form of the public utility or critical infrastructure can be given. And that is where, even in that partnership, the role of blockchain comes in a big way, actually. And that is one another attribute of the blockchain. And that is the smart contract, actually. As you know, smart contract came much before the blockchain itself, actually. Nick Sajo, that was in 1993, actually, 1993, who has coined this term smart contract, which is nothing but coding a contract or automation of a contract. It is also called condition-oriented program. So where you convert a contract into a computer code, actually, which is based on the condition, like if this, then what, if then kind of thing. Actually, that is a common thing, and which is very easy to code also. The smart contract makes use of those capabilities, and then it can help in all these multi-dimensional contracts, not only just government and private, but government and multiple agencies of private, and also including end user. all those things can be brought together through the smart contract actually. So it can do away with what we have been facing in the physical infrastructure domain called cost overrun, time overrun, litigations, arbitrations, and also the quality of the end product, which is lacking actually. But if you put all the contracts, all the orders, all the agreements on the blockchain and code them in an automation mode, actually, and that is where the smart contract plays a role. A lot of problems of this infrastructure development, which is very sluggish, slow, and not up to the mark, always results in the cost overrun, time overrun. So that is where now the trend has come, but yes, it has not reached the decision makers yet, actually, because it needs a lot of regulatory challenges as well, lot of awareness or understanding at the top level what problem it will solve, and also the capacity on the all side actually. So Professor, I think that is what I will like to stop here.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think you have put a very important point in terms of why the blockchain is an important part of the public sector, and smart contract really has a very, very important potential for them. With this, I think I'll go to Mr. Kamlesh. Mr. Kamlesh, I mean, now you are somebody who has seen both sides of the coins. You have seen the public sector how they're working. You also have seen the startups who are doing so well in the ecosystem, but you also see a lot of impact of other technologies coming in picture, and blockchain sometimes are not getting the attention they had to get it, and sometimes peaks again. So what is your view in terms of, because the reason I'm deliberately not putting public sector question directly to you on first is because I think the audience also want to know what is the ecosystem looks like now. I mean, what is how it looked 5 years back and now how it looks like for people.
Yeah. So I think about the public sector, Amit and Satya sir is given a more detailed description like what is happening and what is the potential and kind of use cases. And but overall, if we see the blockchain adoption, maybe due to the Gen AI impact in last 2 years, is maybe derail the thing. But I don't think so, because if you see the maybe it is not in public, but there are lots of things happening in the back end and background. So lots of government initiatives, lots of state government are exploring blockchain. There are many number of, if you compare the number of startups 5 years before and now is maybe increased, right? And so startup is let's say Apari blockchain ecosystem is there. There are different institutions are doing it. And but like Gen AI is really because people want to see and people want to go with the glamorous and new things always. So maybe this Gen AI could impact some kind of maybe growth and the project adoption of the blockchain, but backend in the block is being adopted by the different institutions from government to startups and enterprises. I'm part of many of such projects, which is not even public, will be going to live soon, but technically work is happening, but it's taking time, or is maybe people is don't want to share something because they want to maybe until they have some. So because earlier we seeing lots of news because people are doing POC and pilot and announcing it. Now people want to see how they make the ROI out of it. Uh, Without ROI, it doesn't matter whether you're using a GenAI or blockchain, whatever the technology. So now businesses are more focusing on the ROI, and they want to not just ROI of this in dollars, they want to see ROI is impactful. So maybe it was could have separate their business vertical, or it could be really going to transform their operational efficiency. And now businesses are working on that part. And when they have such significant number achieved, then they want to talk about it. So even as an example, for example, last week I was part of one of the global bank, and they are doing fantastic work in blockchain, 100 plus team in tokenization of the digital assets and liquidity management of the wealth management kind of thing. And it's already in production, already running it, and even making a millions of revenue. But their target is to make billions and then vocal about it. So this kind of thing working happening in the background, and people don't want to just see like they did the POC pilot and announce it. Now businesses also aware like this is not time about doing POCs. They want to do some real impact, and if this is not making sense, they are not talking about is a blockchain or not blockchain. So I think this is I see the ecosystem evolving around nowadays.
Yeah, I want to add something, Nikhil, on this. I totally
Sure, sure.
agree with Kamlesh, what Kamlesh has said, that earlier what we used to see, that if any organization or any company are doing any kind of POCs, they are publishing into the uh, social media. But now the time has gone. Now the thing is that what realistic they can bring into the table. That's why you can see that you will be not getting that much of news, and all of a sudden you get some news that this has been inaugurated or this has been launched, and that could be useful. You might have seen one of the news of that the launch of blockchain platform whose server are being in Hyderabad, Pune, and one other location is Bhubaneswar. So it means that if they have launched that kind of platform, and they have distributed their server into the three different locations, then they have been working for a year in that project, but that has never came out. It means that they want is until unless something concrete been done, nothing, the things are not coming into the public platform. I have also looked into couple of initiative of different states government, and I only seen that some initiative is going on. No, I know that they are doing something, but that is not public, and we have came to that label that within 1 year or within 1.5 year, you will be see a drastic implementation of blockchain in different sectors, whether it is in India, whether it is in abroad, or whether it is in private sector. And I think that private sector is waiting that blockchain could be implemented by the government, and then they are going to build that one. I think Kamlesh and others, Dr. Satya sir and Siv sir or Akhil, you can add value to this.
Thanks so much, Mr. Amit. Both of you have put a very important point in terms of that how the blockchain, what it was before, and now how things are changing. With this, I want to go to Dr. Shiv. Dr. Shiv, you are looking at different forums and different ecosystems already, and I think you're somebody who knows how the what the conversation in the government might be happening in terms of how they feel about blockchain, what it was 5 years back and now. So what do you see the trend in terms of public sector? How much they are happy to adopt the blockchain, or what are the challenges they feel? Which is happening in the public sector?
Uh, Very rightly put by Amit first, that that blockchain started with the crypto, but unfortunately, the crypto derailed the understanding of the blockchain among the community, and people were struggling, and they were having, in fact, the perception that blockchain is nothing but a crypto. So it took a lot of time for the market or the even the intellectuals to understand how the crypto and the blockchain, this can be disassociated. So over the time, it has taken some time in order to have an understanding, and especially the experience I had when we were meeting with the government people in the public sector, and we were talking about the blockchain. Straightforward, they were saying no, the crypto is not allowed in India or in the countries. So they were not even ready to talk on the blockchain. So now the issues are skilling, like Amit said in the beginning, skilling has been one of the, we need to understand the blockchain. Blockchain is not just like a other technology like AI, and you can do some small things and that impact will come and people will realize. Today, everybody is marketing that AI in their products. So how much they are doing, how much evaluation, whether how much impact it's happening in that, and whether really the impact is positive and totally unbiased. So this is to be seen. A lot of things are there. Now coming to the blockchain, blockchain is a very complex technology. Rather it can say it's a platform and the combination of the technologies. And in order to build, demonstrate it, you require a number of basically uh, constituents which will help in order to building this. Uh, the critical infrastructure, the infrastructure we talk, the nature of the infrastructure, it is distributed. It can be throughout the nation, throughout the borders, it can be throughout the state. So having the infrastructure, nature of the infrastructure as a distributed, and blockchain having the advantage, having the distributed architecture, but it can give the advantage of the centralized one. So that is the beauty of the blockchain. And over the time, it is being realized. And there are certain issues which I think better than me, Dr. Satya sir can tell that, the call problem, unsolicited call problem, which is happening, it cannot be resolved by any of the technologies or using the various methods. And now the government is realizing that blockchain is one technology which can help. So there are a number of socio-economic problems, and especially related to the infrastructure, which can be resolved only by the blockchain. So this is being realized, and government is gearing up for the, whether we talk about any sort of the technological development, it is being considered. Now the blockchain is being considered. Yesterday I was having a debate about the blockchain in the defense, or the problem in the defense, how the operational efficiency can be increased. Today, even today in the defense, many of the things, they are manual, because it's not easy there to implement any of the technology until unless they are sure that it will be proof of any cybersecurity type of basically hacking, or basically it will not be like encryption and decryption. That's very important there. So there are certain things still operational, but the things are being debated whether the blockchain can help them, and the communication between the various defense forces can be, they cannot have the centralized communication and then send it to everyone. So the distributed type of the architecture being the beauty of the blockchain, having the transparency and having the integrity of the data, this will certainly bring new dimension to the infrastructure, to the national security, to the border forces. And I am sure it is going to help in the like resource management, or we talk about the any type of the collaboration, it is going to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shiv sir. I mean, you have concluded very well in terms of how the public sector thinks of. Also, I think let me switch to Venu here. Venu, I mean, there are two, three things I want to ask you, okay, in single question itself. First of all, I think everybody has talked about public sector, how they are moving forward and how they are trying to implement blockchain, and sometimes the preference and priorities changes. But I think that is also true with the private sector as well. I mean, in the sense, the priorities keep changing. With AI, I mean, Dr. Shiv, when we mentioned about generative AI, so I want to ask you this question that, blockchain is an infrastructure, maybe an essential commodity. But seriously, it's not a question, but I mean, there are many audience who are students as well, so I'm asking. Does understanding the coding of blockchain an essential commodity even now? Or do you think the future it may not be required? Because I see a lot of advertisements everywhere where I see, blockchain being infrastructure is it's still important, but coding can be done by generative AI. The smart contracts can be built by generative AI. And so I mean then what happens? The government also start feeling that instead of focusing on blockchain itself, let's focus on generative AI. वो कर लेता है बाकी काम भी. Okay, so I mean, you get a larger contest out of it. So what is happening in this sector? I mean, because Kamlesh has talked in the ecosystem of startups, I want to know what exactly happening in the corporate part, in the sense whether the priorities are changing, whether they are still putting faith on blockchain. Second, lastly, does that mean that people are still required in blockchain just because blockchain is there? Yeah.
Great question. Thank you so much for that question, Ankit. And I apologize, there was a technical issue for which I couldn't join earlier. But you put forward a good question where everybody has to understand. Let's kind of step back and try to draw a clear line between what we're looking at. One is blockchain and one is AI, right? So now, what are we trying to do with blockchain, right? Let's focus on the infrastructure side, right? We've been talking all along about transparency, trust, corruption, fraud, inefficient operations, operation management, and of course, complex regulatory environment, which is very subjective, not very objective, that can be solved by validation of 1, 2, 3 points, like a checklist. You cannot do that, right? Now, two, from a technical standpoint, see how different are these two technologies. Now, everybody is now talking about AI or generative AI, but you have to understand that generative AI has been there from the beginning of, say, Google emails, right? So what it basically does at a high level, right? You give a bunch of data, it basically tries to predict the next step. So let's say, for example, if I give a word water, it would give spilling, filling, or something like that. It doesn't really understand what is water and the context around it unless until you supply it with. It is about prompting the next possible word or a sentence. So that's about generative aspect of it. You will see a lot of iterations to it. As long as you keep feeding tons of data to it, you will definitely get a lot of interesting iteration of the same word or same sentence. That's how we should look at it. But mind you, it is very important to understand with dotted line that all the data that you're getting, be it coding, be it imaging, be it everything, has to be validated. All that information that you're looking at is, there's a term called hallucination in AI. That means this prompting or suggesting of next words or sentences or different models, they call it image or text or anything, are generated by prompting in essence, and this may not be correct. And all that we are relying on LLMs or say basically this image generation or all these formats are just preemptive. They kind of think that possibility or percentage of certain aspect is new. So that's how you got to be very careful when you're using LLMs or AI for that matter. So it becomes very important for somebody to look at these with a sense of doubt to ensure that you're getting the right output. I know it is making a lot of lives easier, which are I would say mundane. But the fact is, if you're into research, if you're into medicine, pharma, or some critical jobs, it won't really be of good purpose if you are able to validate it. So that's the story of AI. I will not probably get into that. Let's bounce back to what blockchain is about. Now, the nature of blockchain is to provide two things: trust and traceability, provenance and trust, right? So this aspect is only done when you are validating or able to kind of pinpoint on who or what has caused this transaction. So if you look at it, a good analogy can be that your blockchain would be a plumbing of the house, inside a house where you don't see it, but it is functional for the required aspects that you want to achieve with blockchain. And AI is going to be your painting of the house where it will be shiny and bright. So you've got to understand that there can be a good potential if you can combine both of these, but blockchains as such by nature are here to stay. If you look at cryptos, the use case of cryptos was different. The use case was to basically show banks that without even having a middleman in picture, there can be a system that can be replaced. That's why Satoshi's paper was always talking about an electronic money. They were challenging the banking system, not the entire processes that are around, which are very diverse in nature. So there was a conscious effort to achieve the traceability and trust into different processes. But when it comes to public sector, so I'm coming back to the topic of the hour today. Public sector, as I said, what are the needs? A complex regulatory environment. It is very complex. You cannot go away from this because where you are having governments involved into different segments. At the same time, you have contract management, which is a tough challenge. I personally see, and of course, you would acknowledge, Akhil, that these contracts are tons, thousands of pages, right? That is very tough to handle. And of course, there is no transparency, which has always been an issue. You never, I've come across situations where the tolls have a challenge. The PPP contract is already ended, but the tolls still keep taking money out of the toll, and that's always corruption, fraud around that. So these are aspects that can be easily resolved technically, but the challenge remains is how seamlessly are you creating that situation of adoption. If you're not creating that environment or showing those real savings, it cannot be adopted. And there is no comparison of the financial prism here, because foundationally, blockchain is a combination of multiple technologies coming together to build use cases. If you sit towards understanding the process, this will be very helpful, and here it is here to stay. That's why I said it's a plumbing of the house rather than painting of the house. You got to paint it every now and then. That's why you see tons of LLMs coming in a short span, but blockchain still remains foundational. You see, I can see that there are 7 different LLMs that are coming from one company, OpenAI, in just 2 years' time. Different big parameters, but you will also see, I can promise you, that you'll see 10 different iterations in another 1 year, which we'll talk about that. But that is not what blockchain is. Still foundation, but make sure that we are creating enough doors to be adopted well. That's probably my 2 cents. I know I've taken some time, but hope that's it.
No, perfect, right. So, Venu, I mean, your point anchors a lot for us in the sense you have literally defined that how AI and blockchain are different, but at the same time, there is a handshake between both of them nowadays, but it may not mean that the blockchain does not. I mean, but does AI will make sure things are done automatically. You need a testing, you need auditing, you need other things as well. But point is, now let me go reverse on the point that something is still challenging in terms of blockchain. This is for all of you because this is a conclusive question where you have to give the solution. See, the last 10 years is a more than sufficient time for a technology to evolve. If you look at the history of the world, you will understand that a technology to evolve 5 to 7 years is a more than sufficient time. I mean, if they have to hit the right button and move in the direction. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 more than that, but 10 years commercially, if you look at it, the blockchain is thought to be the answer for all the things. But if you look at when you say that the blockchain is still the basic, my issue is with that basic as well, that why it is still the basic in the last 10 years. There is no evolution much happening. The reason also is one of them. Maybe AI is still in the hype cycle, but blockchain hype cycle is gone. That is why Kamlesh is very rightly said, nowadays people are looking for ROI, and not a small ROI, bigger ROI, because the hype cycle is somewhere gone. And AI is still in the hype cycle. So with this, I'm coming to Amit sir only. I'm
Yeah,
coming to Amit sir only that with this premise, I think what should be the strategy for the next 4 or 5 years, which every ecosystem developer of a
yeah.
blockchain should look at.
See, that's a very good question that when we are comparing two technologies and we can see the difference between these two technologies. My point is that when we talk about AI is something that can be seen, right? The result can be seen immediately, but we also have to know that the result which are coming and the result which is being showcased by the AI, from where it is coming from the server, right? And AI will only provide accurate data based on the data which is getting stored into the server. If the data is getting manipulated into the server, then the result will also be something else, correct? Because AI is not doing any kind of it's just gathering the data, it is just structuring the data, and it is presenting the data. Okay. Now, when we talk about blockchain is at the server side. That's why we are not able to see the effect of that as we can see as the AI part. Okay, when that is one part. Now the second part is that why AI has been the news what we are seeing, and the AI, the success rate of AI is so much, and whereas the blockchain success rate is not that much. The most important part we have to understand is that the blockchain started with the cryptocurrency. Okay, and we in this down the line of the 10 years, what we have seen is that lot of up and downs has come into this technology, in terms of banning the cryptocurrency, in terms of the hacking which happens into the cryptocurrency. And that's why whenever I conduct any kind of training sessions or webinar to any kind of stakeholder, whether it is private or public sector, they correlate everything with the cryptocurrency, as Dr. Siv sir has told. in her conversation that wherever we go, they says that okay, blockchain is cryptocurrency, and we are not interested in that because everyone is correlating blockchain with the cryptocurrency. That is one myth which need to be break down with the help of such kind of event which we have organized. The second part is that down what I feel is that you can correct me on that. What I feel is that uh, uh, implementing blockchain has been in a hurry up. When when we see down the line in the 5 years, we have seen lots of development, and none of them has become that much of success. Okay, so we have to think that did we hurry up? Did the market get so much excited with that product that they have launched, and after that they found that there is some mistaken happened to that, the ROI, which Kamlesh is saying, the ROI is not like that. So, and whereas in the case of AI got boosted up with the help of couple of product which came into the market and they got success. Okay, so I think it's a kind of debate topic, and any one of panelists over here can add value to that. But I feel so. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Amit sir. With this, I think Dr. Satya sir, what should be the strategy for the next 4 5 years? Because now AI has also come up. Blockchain, obviously, like what Amit sir has said, it's a back-end technology, strong technology, has a lot of potential, but also you see a lot of impact of AI and other things coming up. So, what should be the strategy for the government and other parties for the next 4 5 years to make sure that blockchain gets its legitimate dues in the sense in terms of implementation? You see the execution happening. So, what should be the strategy for 4 5 years?
Yeah, thank you, Professor Akhil. Actually, the strategy has become now very clear. Actually, though blockchain is still below the hype cycle curve and let us say at the foundational level only, but now a lot of learnings are there, a lot of use cases are being talked about, and whatever roadblocks were there for the blockchain basically deployments have also gone away, and the initial work, initial hand holding, what is required from the government side also has taken off actually. So the strategy point of view, first thing what is required is the skilling or the capacity building actually. Awareness building is already there, but now the skilling is required, capacity building, so that we should have the experts on the blockchain ecosystem. Like basically you have the three types of expertise required in the blockchain domain. One is at the lower level, these guys are called blockchain coders or blockchain developers. There is no dearth of that. Actually, India have about 10% of the total coder or developer of blockchain. And then these AI chat GPT is there. Half of the job can be done by that also. So that part is already taken over actually. Then we have blockchain professionals who are the architect, who are like CTOs and who are the decision maker. And that is where is lacking in numbers and not meeting the requirement actually. So we need more blockchain professionals trained or skills, and then the blockchain startups. So startups also are coming in big way now. Lot of encouragement from the government for the startups. Initial funding is required because what is happening on the blockchain side, they are forced to do what you call bootstrapping, which is neither enough and nor available with everyone. You may have a good idea or a risk-taking capability, but you may not have your own money. So you cannot do bootstrapping. So what strategy have to be there from the government side actually to encourage this? Once, to do more skilling program for the school level also, college level also, and in the organization itself. And then there are some startup funding only for blockchain actually, even if you just have an idea. You may not have what is called a MVP. Normally, the startup funding comes when you have done something actually by your own money or bootstrapping. I think in blockchain time, it should not be a condition. The blockchain, if you have an enthusiast or a evangelist. He has some idea. He wants to do something on the blockchain. So he should be funded at the angel level or at the initial level. And then whatever are these regulatory issues actually which are there, whatever you want to do on blockchain, and one thing is not comparing it with crypto or treating it in the same box as crypto. And also you have to take it as what is called a cutting edge technology or a emerging technology, where you have to do what is called a sandbox approach. In the sandbox approach, what happens is you don't put any regulation. Actually, you just give them a free hand, a totally unregulated environment to start with. Actually, that is what is required for blockchain to grow, to develop, and to have more and more use cases. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So I think what you have said is making sense. The sense that blockchain is still has a lot of potential, and 4 or 5 years you see a lot of startups coming up, and rather a lot of blockchain funds which are also being encouraging these startups. But I think there are a lot more factors also need to be kept in mind. I think let me shift to Mr. Kamlesh here. Mr. Kamlesh, I think now you are in a very good stage, as you said very rightly, that ROI is very important. Blockchain has a lot of potential, but I think we're still in the nascent stage. We are still saying it's a nascent stage. And I want to really critique a question in front of you. AI is not in the nascent stage. It came much later. I mean, I understand theoretically it came much before, but it came in the market much later. Company adoption became very fast. What Amit sir has said very rightly, because blockchain AI provides front end, visibility. So what happens? The experience directly connects with the customer. The customer understands. But my only view to you is why even like Linux, why, because that was a backend operating system. Why blockchain even not going that level? I mean, that will go. I mean, I'm not saying Sapri, let's go. But what is the strategy? What is missing, and what people should focus on for the next 4 or 5 years to make sure blockchain really gets the potential what it deserves?
Okay, so if even compare these two technologies, right? This artificial intelligence is not a new thing, right? It is maybe the adoption and utilization just came here just 2 years before, but it was there since I think maybe 2000. Even I did in my engineering, I study of the subject, right? There was subject in artificial intelligence. So how it will take maybe 20, 30 years to become as a mainstream adoption, or still I am even questioning on the utility of the Gen AI, because lots of, even if you see the OpenAI, right? Is a bigger company, but is not making any profit, is not doing any ROI, right? Is only investment. So when this maybe in couple of years, we could also see the reality, like how this hype of the Gen AI, it could impact as well. And we see, okay, because simply the businesses want the how they can use the technology for two things: whether they create a new business model, or second, whether they can cut the cost from the operational efficiency. Whether it's a Gen AI or blockchain, they don't care. So if the businesses see the utility, maybe currently due to the hype, lots of Gen AI use cases happening, then I don't think like it will become a that much success in going forward. It will totally depend, like how the same thing happened with the blockchain, right? When in early 2016 to around 2020, lots of use cases have been building. Everyone just did some basic thing and announced, okay, I did this much. But when come to the even let's say project like TradeLens, project like VTOT already failed, right? It's a big name because the ROI matters. Same. So frankly, I'm saying like we need to give time to the blockchain. It will definitely will do the wonders, but it will require good use cases and good implementation coming as a success story, not just as a hype. So when we, let's say for example, like even let's say DigiYatra, for example, it is a very good use case, right? A blockchain. Only millions of users doing it. And we see the operational efficiencies there, but maybe no business model, correct? The Telecom Authority of India is another use case. Is already there from last 4 5 years. Nobody talking about it. So there are good use cases are there. People are implementing it. Now businesses want like how they could create a value out of it. doesn't care about it is innovative or something else. So
Okay.
we need to give time, maybe like how this AI circle comes, right? So, lots of hype 10, 15 years before, and then it slow down, then again Gen AI come and there's lots of hype. Similar cycle will come for the blockchain as well. Maybe when we see all lots of good use cases already happening, when we see some success stories at bigger level with good milestone and good numbers, good ROI, then it become mainstream as well in coming years.
Good point, Mr. Kamesh. Good point. What you said makes sense. Like, you can't say that, blockchain is doing less and AI is doing more. You rightly said the OpenAI is not making money. Uh, so you can't say that whatever you see is exactly happening on ground, in the sense the way the ROI is. Completely agree. Completely agree. But Kamlesh, which I'm want to go to shift to Dr. Shiv on this, but Dr. Shiv, I think आप तो ज़्यादा मतलब ही जान रहे होंगे. Government also, if you see the kind of conversations are happening, the conversation of blockchain is slightly getting lower, and the conversation on AI is getting slightly larger contest. So, what is the missing point, and what we should do as a roadmap to make sure that the genuine, the genuine strategy to make sure that the long-term path of blockchain becomes much more visible for the government, for others to make sure they implement it. So, what is the strategy we all should be following on?
See, it's a very difficult to say or compare the AI versus the blockchain. Blockchain is going to be an integral part of the infrastructure. We cannot say, we cannot evaluate the ROI, because in the case of the AI, you do something and start marketing, and then you lure the consumers, and you are enhancing the little bit enhancement in the product, and you are getting the more ROI. So in the case of AI, it's very easy. But in the blockchain, it has their problems, number of issues it has been. Like, for example, one of them I will say with the standards and interoperability. In the blockchain, there has been number of the platforms. A platform came as per the requirements. Someone is giving the better performance for the bank. Someone is some other platform is giving the for other application. So there has not been a unified effort or the standard effort. And once you develop one product in the using the one blockchain, it cannot be ported to the other blockchain. So there has been number of issues related to the standards and interoperability. Blockchain is a fundamental layer. It is becoming the integral part. Slowly, people are realizing over and this. Skilling has to be integral part of it, because without skilling, and skilling has to be in-depth skilling, even the research level of the skilling is required, not just for the purpose of the using or developing the blockchain. It has to be of the basically master's level, MTech level, and the research has to be done in the. So over the time, I think the confidence among the stakeholders is coming for the blockchain, which is going to make it a success. The scalability is going to come using the blockchain. So all this basically different type of factors is going to help us. The one example given by the Kamlesh was the Linux versus the, Linux was having so much of the inherent advantage, Linux or Unix, but the Windows became very popular. Okay? So because it was a graphical type of structure, and it was very easy to use, and it became everybody started liking it. But on the other hand, blockchain is going to solve number of our problems which cannot be solved by the other technology. For example, online e-voting systems. No technology can solve such type of problem until unless there is a blockchain becomes the integral part of this. Similarly, the digital identity, intellectual property rights, the clarity or the charity and the donations, how to track all this thing, how to track the origination into the various type of products. So there are certain products or certain use cases which we are going to take it, and which will make a difference in the whole system. Blockchain is going to get a success, but it is very right that it has taken some significant time. there has been different basically reasons for it. So we have to see it from the whole perspective, why it has taken slow. Because you cannot just like AI, you cannot just get the advantage. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. For your defense highlights, what you said is very right that blockchain, you cannot compare it AI directly, first of all, and secondly, it's a backend technology, has a lot of potential for it, and I completely agree with your point. Venu, over to you, just to get a concluding remarks on exactly how the blockchain should be. Now, you have been working in the public sector algorithm of blockchain. You have been working in smart contract, and so what is the nutshell in the sense what is the critical success factor to make sure that a blockchain becomes much more successful in the public sector area? Okay, and you can to make sure that it has a positive trend in terms of the longevity for the blockchain to make sure it gets its due. Speaker.
Okay, absolutely. Sorry for that. So I can probably answer this with a positive note of a use case, that's making waves. Now, if you might have noticed in the blockchain world, on October 10th, just 5 days back, Citibank has actually launched its token service, multi-million on blockchain, which is now kind of the de facto standard for cross-border settlements. So that's one of the biggest thing that happened on blockchain, that is irrespective of cryptos. This is token service for cash that is global. So now there's no crypto in it. There's a proper functional process, and it is a huge thing for a financial industry as a whole. Now, bringing the same attention to that good note. On the infrastructure side, I always believe the success for any process is the business, the aspect of how the business works, functions is need to be understood, and just 5% is technology, irrespective of blockchain or not blockchain. So that aspect needs to be understood. Now, that only comes through process driven by adopters inside the system. At the same time, once the process is understood, we got to also make sure what are the different iterations that can be achieved. So first place, I always do ask people who come to me about a blockchain solution, I would probably ask them, I basically ask them question, do you even need a blockchain? Because that's how differentiating a blockchain discussion can be. So with that said, I'd probably say 2 areas that can certainly help these blockchain to proliferate into the so-called infrastructure services or PPP models is understanding the process. Now, that's number 1. Number 2 is skilling. Skilling, not necessarily technical, because that can be solved quite easily with what are the applications available, but skilling in terms of reading through the processes. Talk to people like Amit ji or Satyan sir, or of course Shiv sir, along with technology experts, and understand the processes well before even concepting, working on the concept of how do we resolve it through a technology like blockchain, and educate themselves. That can help accommodate. And the lastly, what I'd like to probably end my thought is blockchain is already making waves in the background from financial sectors to the public sector, and as in the case of digital identity, Estonia is already a blockchain-based digital identity already. In India, we are using it for DigiYatra, but we are not talking about it because the lens that we are putting up is cryptos and then the use cases that we are doing. Because in Indian situation or ecosystem, we don't talk about cryptocurrencies because unfortunately, you got to see that government charges 30% tax on cryptos straight, and compare it with horse trading and all that, horse racing. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. So the education needs to come from top down now. That will probably help a lot of adoption to how successful use cases can be built. And another solid example, I can make a list of it, is how Ripple is being used. Ripple services and its platforms are blockchain based. SBI is one of the key bank that uses its services. Right. I'm just saying the success factor comes with understanding the right use case and of course skilling. That's probably where I'd probably end. And I'm sure forums like us, what we're trying to do, proliferate blockchain. If anybody is interested, we'd be happy to talk about it and areas that can help improve going forward.
Thank you so much, Viren. Thank you so much, Viren. So I think I like the way the panel has literally come out well now. The panel has literally made sure that the skilling is important, making sure that the use case has to be more relevant in the coming time. Agreed. Now, in one line, okay, now just one line for all of you. What do you see the future of blockchain in the next 5 years? What is the vision you feel so? Okay, please. I mean, one or two lines, not more than that. Just what do you think about what the blockchain will be in the next 4 5 years? Satya sir, I'll start from you.
Okay, yeah, Professor Akhil, you have already mentioned that actually future is very bright, as I can put it in one line, and there is no doubt now. Blockchain is there to stay in the long run. Yes, some teething problems are there, and biggest problem is the business model as which have come out, and that is where the government support is required. Some kind of funding is required from government and holding, and government have already started what you call blockchain as a service platform, which will be like a DPI, a digital public infrastructure kind of thing from government side. And that is a big contribution of the government. So I think we should have no doubt about the future of blockchain.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Amit sir, over to you.
Okay, so I will also go with Satya sir. The thing is that the future is bright. Now, it times to build the capability, the awareness sessions. There should be awareness sessions where the industry experts or the stakeholders, not the students or the startups, along with that, the business decision makers should also attend such kind of sessions where they will get to know that what blockchain is capable of. Okay, and based on that only we will see a stick development in blockchain technology. It is only already in the progress. Okay, I have seen so many states in India who are working on this technology, and once they will be live, once the news will come, then you will see the same thing that is happening nowadays for AI. Okay, it's only a time, it's only a time, it is taking time, but we will see the development in this sector or in this technology. So I will encourage everyone to learn this technology more.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amit. I mean, the point is which you have said very rightly that everybody needs to learn this technology. I really love that point because I mean that's exactly we as a teacher also want people to really understand that this is something which the future looks like. With this, let me go to Dr. Shiv sir. Your final vision of what you see the
In
blockchain.
my opinion,
Yeah.
blockchain is going to be one of the basic building blocks for all the complex solutions, complex problems.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That's a really good point. Venu, last point. What's your vision in the last for what you see?
Well, you might not hear blockchain as a term going forward in the future, but you might see them metamorphosizing into application specific or domain specific services. And that's how blockchains will evolve and seem to saturate in terms of new service lines and domain lines.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists and everybody. And I think it's a really nice, short, crisp, sweet discussion on the blockchain and its impact on public sector and infrastructure. We also deliberately wanted the AI part also come in picture because there is a lot of confusion in the audience of exactly how these are mixing up. But I think everything is now clear very well. So to all the audience who are sitting and watching in YouTube live, I'm saying this, all of you, please connect with all the gentlemen here in LinkedIn. Have your queries and doubts cleared from them. And with that, let me thank to all the panelists. I thank to all the audience. With this, I'm just switching off the webinar for now. Thank you so much. We'll meet next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Akhil. Thank you, everyone.